today we're in episode 22. I trust God that this program has been helping you. You've been making use of all that we have been teaching. This evening, we are getting to another topic. A wonderful one. The role of a husband and the role of a wife. We didn't say the role of a man or the role of a woman. The role of a husband and the role of a wife. With me this evening is Reverend Caleb Calebs, F.I.N.D relationship coach. Please, sir, can you speak to the people?
Welcome, everybody. It's another powerful time. I want you to get your friends. You can form a watch party, those of you watching on Facebook. You can also get down to our YouTube, Life Mending World Mission, F.I.N.D relationship. And then you can also watch us on our website, www.lifemending.org. Just create a watch party, spread it around to the groups in your Facebook contact, get down onto your WhatsApp, gather everyone that you care about, because it is that time that we gather together to do something that is so powerful. I'm so grateful to every one of you who have been giving comments and those of you who have been reacting to this. As a matter of fact, last week we dealt with how to get married to a fool, and that was so awesome. People reacted to it, and today we are following up to that that episode 21. We are following it up with another powerful topic: the role of a husband and a wife in marriage. I want to take you straight to Ephesians chapter 5. I want to read Ephesians chapter 5. I'm reading from Basic Bible English version, verse 21 to 28. Ephesians chapter 5, 21 to 28. It said, "Let yourselves be ruled by one another in the fear of Christ." Verse 22 says, "Wives." He didn't say women. He said, "Wives, be under the authority of your husbands." He never said authority of a man, "as of the Lord. For the husband is the head of the wife, as Christ is the head of the church, being himself the Savior of the body." Verse 24 said, "And as the church is under Christ's authority, so let wives be under the rule of their husbands in all things." Verse 25 says, "Husbands, have love for your wives, even as Christ had love for the church and gave himself for it, so that he might make it holy, having made it clean with the washing of water by the word." Verse 27 said, "And might take it for himself a church full of glory, not having one mark of food or any such thing, but that it might be holy and complete. And even so, it is right for husbands to have love for their wives as for their bodies. He who has love for his wife has love for himself." What powerful principles that the great Apostle Paul and the principles of the Bible. You know, I love reading the Word of God. I love basing our discussions on the principles of the Bible, because there is no other person who can talk or give valid principles that can work in marriage except the author of marriage himself, and that is God himself. He authored the marriage. He can tell us how it works. And today we are dealing with the role of husband and wife in a marriage relationship. Let me remind you once again that marriage is a covenant relationship. Marriage is not an ordinary relationship. Marriage is a covenant relationship. Marriage is a bond of oneness, not just ordinary bond. is a bond of oneness. It's a kind of bond that when you get into it, you lose your original individuality in order to take up and express yourself according to the individuality of the bond. That I really want you to understand this, because this is the bulk of what we're dealing with today. It's a bond of oneness. Marriage is a bond of oneness. When you get into marriage, you are getting into a bond of oneness, a kind of unity that causes you to lose your original individuality, and now takes up and express yourself and function according to the individuality of the bond, according to the bond of oneness form. Let me give you a practical example of what we're talking about. The practical, simple example to understand the bond of oneness is the salt. The salt. Yes, your table salt. The salt. No wonder in some nations they use salt to do marriage covenant. They use salt. If you look at some traditions and some people and some communities, in every marriage, they ask the bride or the groom to bring salt. And they use that salt to do a salt covenant in marriage. Salt is so powerful. The chemical component of salt is called sodium chloride. Yeah, that's sodium chloride, if I can still remember my chemistry very well. Sodium chloride, that's what the salt is called. And the individual elements of this sodium chloride is sodium and chlorine. If you tear them apart, you'll find out that sodium chloride is made up of sodium and chlorine. If you look at sodium, it is not something that anyone can drink as an element. Sodium is very unstable, and it is not healthy for consumption in the body of a man. Chlorine on its own is very poisonous. Chlorine on its own. Chlorine, if you separate sodium and chlorine, chlorine is an acidic, poisonous element. But how come that when sodium, which is not healthy to be consumed, and chlorine, which is very poisonous, when they come together, they become a very powerful element that is universally consumed? There is no nation where salt is not needed, either for preservation, either for seasoning, or either for consumption. So the sodium lost its individual, and the chlorine lost its individual. In all its individual elements, they are not good for consumption. But when they come together, they build a bond of oneness, wherein in their functioning together as one, they become very, very, very different from what they were on their individual level. So is marriage. So is marriage. When you get into marriage, you are losing your individuality to bond together with someone else to create a bond which is quite different from who you used to be. Marriage is not between a man and a woman. Marriage is between a husband and a wife. And I want to submit here that a husband is not a man. A man is different from husband. A woman is not a wife. A wife is different from a husband. A wife is different from a woman. So you need to understand that until this difference happens right inside of you, you're just cohabiting in that relationship. There have to be a bond that will cause you to lose your individuality and begin to function according to the demand and the new role of the bond of oneness that you have created in marriage. And today, we have come to talk about your role, not as a man, Your role, not as a woman, your role as a wife, and your role as a husband, based on the new bond that you have formed with your partner. Let me start from the woman of God. She is going to represent all the whole women in the whole world. If you don't get the accurate role, you hold her responsible. But for me, I'm going to represent all the husbands in the whole world, and I'm going to represent your wife. Woman of God, what's the role of a wife in a marriage relationship?
The role of a wife is a very important role. I want to submit tonight that without the role of the woman, the possibility of the man getting to where he ought to be or fulfilling his purpose for living will be very difficult. The role of a woman, I want to use the human body as an example. I want to illustrate with the human body. We know from the book of Ephesians, where we read this evening, that the Bible said that the man is the head. The position of the man is the head.
Yeah.
But I want to bring it to the notice of the women today that you don't need to fight to take the place of the man. The man is the head, but you have a very important position in the life of the man. The man is the head, while you are the neck. The work of the neck is to support the head. The work of the neck is to uphold the head. The head can't function very well without the neck.
The neck.
So the neck becomes so important to the head, for the head to function correctly.
Perfect.
Let's assume maybe someone that have a stiff neck, maybe you have a problem with your neck. The neck is paining, and the head can't turn without the neck. You find out that it becomes difficult for the head to turn to whithersoever he wants to.
That's true.
If you look at the neck, for instance, now you see my head wants to turn this way.
It has to be by the
It
encouragement.
has to be by the help of the neck.
Okay.
You get what I'm saying? Yeah.
Yeah.
This neck helps,
Neck helps the head to turn. It encourages it.
So our role is a very important one. The head also the neck also encourages the head. Because for the head to turn and stay for a particular hours, to remain at a particular position, you need the help of the neck. Because if the neck is paining, then the head will have to turn to wherever the neck is turning the head to.
So what you're saying here now is because the Apostle Paul, he uses the body's structure to illustrate the marriage situation. So he said the man is the head, and now you're telling us that the woman is the neck. And the neck holds up the head. I think I should remove my neck in order to function.
You can't even detach the neck
from the
head. If you try to detach the neck from the head, then there will be a lot of damages.
That's true. That's true.
The head can even lose
every single thing. So the neck upholds the head. Secondly, the neck encourages the head to turn whichever way that you want to turn. How does this really download in a practical marriage situation? Assuming that, talk to me, assuming that, I have a problem right now. What's the role of the neck to me if I am going through some things, maybe in the marriage situation or everyday marriage? How does this download?
Yeah, the neck, the woman encourages the man. Because we saw in the nature of men, they don't, the husband, they don't have what it takes to take pressure. When there's a lot of pressure, you see your husband everywhere. But we women, we are formed with the ability to take pressure. A woman can have pressure, yet she's operating normal.
Multitasking, also she's able to do many things.
But for a man, when there is too much pressure, the man tends to give up. The frustration is everywhere. It's noticeable. You can feel it that this one is frustrated. You understand? The role of a woman also is to give confidence to the husband.
Wow.
Every man needs confidence.
Wow.
Check a man or a husband that is confident wherever he goes. He have a wife at home who is speaking the right word into the man. So the duty of a woman is to speak confidence into your husband. You are supposed to be the first fan of your husband. You are supposed to be the first team of your husband that can stand with your husband to say, I encourage you in the things you are doing. I push you to go forward. Also, another role of a woman is unconditional love. Unconditional love. What the word I said, the word I'm using, unconditional love. That is loving the man no matter what. Loving the man. It's just like a mother that have a child. You don't love the child only when the child is clean. You love the child when the child makes poo-poo on the body. You still take your time to clean the child up. The same thing applies to the wife. The day you sign the document, either in the registry or in the church,
or in your house,
or in your heart, to say, I'm taking this man to be my husband. What you are saying that day is, you are signing a document that I'm taking even every of his mess.
Now, how do you do this in terms of submission, in terms of respect, honor and respect? Yeah. What kind of attitude does a wife need in order to carry out her role onto her husband?
One of the attitude is submission. Submission. That is the key to a successful relationship for a woman. If you want to enjoy your relationship, if you want to get the best out of your husband, then you have to have that attitude of submission no matter what. You know, some people will say, I submit when it's behaving well. I won't submit when it's not behaving well. But for you to play the right role in the life of that man, you need submission. Number two, you need to honor him. He is a king. In every man is the kingly aspect of him. If you have a baby boy as a child, you'll find out that there's a point you give that boy instruction, and maybe the way you are giving the boy that instruction is not comfortable with it. You will see that boy resisting you. You understand? Trying to say, no, I can't do this. That is the kingly aspect of him. That is the pride aspect of him. For every man, that pride is in them.
Ego.
The ego, yes. So you need to honor him. You need to give him his place. Whether you are older than the man,
or you
are richer than the man,
or you're fatter than the man,
or you think you are wiser than the man. You know, sometimes we women, we believe that we are wiser than the man. So no matter what the case is, you need to give him his respect. Like the topic for last week, how to marry a fool. I told you, I said, respect him as the fool that he is, if you want peace. So the way to play those roles is you submitting to your husband.
Wow, that's so powerful. Women, I hope you've gotten your role clear cut. You are a helpmate, but for you to carry out that function, it has to be that you uphold your head and you at the same time encourage your head so that he can turn wherever he want to turn. But you hold him up. Understand that that is your core responsibility, and for you to carry out that core responsibility, it got to be in the attitude of submission and also in the attitude of respect. I want you to try this out even tonight. If you want to wake up the beast that is in your husband, just dishonor him and disrespect him continually, then you will see the beast aspect of him wake up. Right? That's the role of the wives. But what about the husband? We read from here that the husband is the head of the wife. You are the head of the wife. The head is not an instrument to kill others. It's not an instrument of slavery. The head, what it means to be the head, is that you have to be intricately, intimately connected with your spouse. It has to be there. Because every nerve of the body is connected to your head. So there has to be a living, dynamic, deep connection with your spouse. And how do you do that? You do that by spending time. You do that by understanding your spouse. And another dimension of that is that have an intimate, deep communication skill, to the extent that you can analyze your spouse, you can understand your spouse, and be able to build her up towards the person that he ought to be. Each and every one of us, each woman, each and every one of us, there's a destiny designed for us. It is the role of the husband to analyze the wife, find out who she ought to be, and begin to build her up. Remember the word nourish? Nourishing is an agricultural word. In agriculture or in planting, you nourish the tree, you nourish the plant, and make sure that it comes up. That's the role of the husband. But above all said, care is very important. Loving the woman as your own body. I've never seen any man who is beating his body. You going on the road, you see a man is hitting his body, slapping his body. That man must be a madman. So when you begin to hit the woman, you're a madman. That's what it means, you're hitting your body. So you love her as your own body. Now these are all covenant roles. By the time the man is spending time to love, the man is spending time to connect with the wife, to initiate, to be able to carry out, understand her, build her up, and lead her to the place that she ought to be. By the time you are carrying out that responsibility, and the woman is on the other side carrying out her own responsibility, there will be a marvelous peace that nothing can break in the house. But before we sign out right now, I want to tell you the common failures in the roles of both the husband and the wife. One of the major common failure that I've seen among men is that so many men, they withdraw, they abandon their responsibility as the head. It is the attitude of the husband to initiate. Yes, the head initiates. You need to come to that place where you are so sensitive to analyze things, to be able to communicate, draw things, and initiate a move, a positive move that can lead the family or the relationship to the next level. But the common failure of the women is to try to usurp authority. You try to hijack the husband's authority. That is the common failure of wives. You cannot be the head. You are designed to be the neck. But the head cannot function without the neck. And a man cannot be the neck. The man ought to be the head, and the neck have to carry the man. If the man abandons his responsibility, then he will make a Jezebel, because it takes a man who is Ahab to create a Jezebel. So you carry out your responsibility as a woman of God. I've spoken to you today. I'm talking about all the women, all the wives, not just the women. And the husband, you do your own role. When you do this, the author of marriage says, this is the customized principle. I don't care what your culture is. I don't care what your level of education is. I don't care what your circumstance is. If you practice this principle, it will work, and the number of divorce cases will be reduced. Woman of God, it's time for us to go. Can you encourage anybody listening to you there?
Yeah, I want to say to all the women, you are the thermometer of the marriage. You determine the temperature of your marriage or your relationship. Remain in your position. Do what you're supposed to do, and leave your husband's side to him to do. Don't drag his position. Your position is a very important one. So remain there and make it beautiful.
Wow, don't drag our position, don't drag his position, women, and also men, don't become a coward. Don't just shy away. Don't be the woman, be the man that you are. Be very sensitive, connect and analyze. Be a man that responds to situation promptly, and be a man that comes with positive leadership. If you do that, you are going to see your relationship fly. Don't forget to like this particular message, spread it out wherever, in the YouTube or in the Facebook, or you go to our website and do whatever you can do to bless somebody with this message, because I know it is a blessing to you. Until we see you again in episode 23, just shine for your life and also for everyone around you. Thank you very much.